My name is Daisy Leva, and my presentation today is on the Least Restrictive Environment. IDEA, which stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, believes that students should be placed in educational settings that offer the least number of restrictions. So the philosophy is that children with disabilities, to the greatest extent possible, should be educated with children who have no disabilities and under normal classroom conditions. So the main purpose of LRE, Least Restrictive Environment, is to provide children with disabilities an opportunity to interact, socialize, and learn with regular students. Because the law does not clearly state what degree the least restrictive environment is, courts have had to interpret the LRE principle. So evaluations in IEPs must demonstrate the reason for a particular placement and what is determined to be the least restrictive environment for one student might be totally inappropriate for another student. The law has indicated a strong preference for inclusion, so the burden of proof rests with the educators. Statute does not mandate inclusion in each case, but it does require that it be used to the full extent possible. The Board of Education of Hendrick Hudson Central School District versus Raleigh 458 U.S. 176 in 1982 was the first decision in a special education case by the U.S. Supreme Court that defined free appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. This case was about a little girl named Amy Rollin who was deaf and who was not afforded all the related services that she needed in the regular classroom. Later the court ruled that she should receive them, and her case was won, and she was able to get that education that she so wanted in the regular classroom. In Daniel R.R. versus State Board of Education in 1989, it was determined that students with disabilities have a right to be included in both academic and extracurricular programs of general education. The court stated that IDEA does not contemplate an all or nothing educational system in which children attend either regular or special education. Rather, it should be an education that is in the best interest of the child. So allocation of time would be according to what is in the best interest of the student determined by the IEP team. In Board of Education Sacramento City Unified School District versus Holland 1994, 4 factors were identified as things needed to be taken into consideration when determining if the student's LRE is appropriate. They are as follows: the educational benefits of integrated settings versus segregation settings, non-academic benefits, the effects the student with a disability can have on the teacher and his or her peers, and the cost of supplementary services that will be required for that student to stay in the integrated setting. Now, there are different placement options for a least restrictive environment. There is the regular class with support from regular class teacher. There is the regular class with support from special ed teacher. There's a regular class with special resource instruction. There's a full-time special ed class in regular school. There's a full-time special school, and then there's a residential school and homebound instruction. In the middle of preparing this presentation and looking at the different options for LRE, I started to wonder about statistics about students in special education and where they were being placed, and I found the National Center for Education Statistics, and if you copy this link and look it up, you'll find the latest statistics that they have here, which are the most current ones in from 2007. The following is a video that I will show you about a school district who supports inclusion in their schools. It's 7 minutes long, but I will only show you a little bit.
The inclusive classroom is a supportive, caring, learning community where the curriculum accommodates individual needs. It is a place of trust among adults and children alike. Ongoing in-service occurs among teachers to help children succeed. It is a place where teams work together and problem solving is the norm.
I know as a teacher, and I have always loved teaching, when I'm in that classroom, I've always said to myself, children in the classroom will be treated as if they are my children, my own children, because you just have that feeling that everything that you do for that child in that 6-hour day is totally important. That child goes home in the afternoon, and how they feel depending on what kind of day they had at school, and that's an awesome responsibility. We also have an awesome responsibility to the administrators and the teachers from the district staff to see that they are totally supported with the resources and our time and energy to help them as they're dealing with children with special needs.
For us at Glen Springs, our inclusion project works, I think, because of the spirit and attitudes of our teachers. In particular, this works well in our Project Friends classroom. This is a multi-age classroom, multi-graded, kindergarten through 2nd grade, where kids are blended together. The blending of those children together makes it a quite natural environment for including children of all ages as well as disabilities.
Our speech therapist told us about the Project Friends, the multi-age group at Glen Springs, and so I came here and looked at the program and I said, this is a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And I walked in, my heart was just pounding walking in there because I thought, what if they don't want him, and what if, just the rejection of it all, and because I'm thinking, my child has Down syndrome, and I'm asking him to let him come here. So I walk in, and I sat down, and I brought a picture of Luke, and I said, this is who I'm talking about. He's an awesome, awesome kid, but he happens to have Down syndrome. And Dr. Craig said, what are you thinking about for Luke? And I told him my plans, and I wanted him to start kindergarten as a typical kindergartner, and no resources or anything because we get speech and occupational therapy outside of school anyway. I just wanted to see what he could do. I felt like he deserved all the chances that any kindergartner would have. And so Dr. Craig said, I think that's a wonderful idea. We would love to have you at this school. And I walked out on cloud 9, I'm telling you.
That
Great.
very
Excellent. Your favorite one?
C-A-L-L.
So what does A-L-L spell? A-L-L spells?
Oh,
And if we put a C in front, it's
call.
that's right.
As inspiring as the video is, regular education teachers are challenged to meet the needs of special education students. In many instances, regular education teachers are unprepared, and an idea does require that school personnel meet the needs of these students. If teachers are not prepared to meet these needs, legal issues may emerge. From what we were able to observe in the video, we can see that school districts and regular ed teachers are striving to meet the needs of special education students in the regular classroom setting. Here you saw a little boy with Down syndromes having his educational needs met by a regular education teacher. So the future looks bright for students in special ed to be included in the regular classroom. And here is my reference page, which brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention today. Bye-bye.